W site. I'll remain in the room, participate in debate and vote on that.
Thank you. Councillor Trotter.
Mine's also 17.1. My husband's a member of the committee of the bowling club. I will remain in the room. It is a general interest and I will vote.
Thank you. Councillor Rick.
Just seek some advice if possible regarding item 15.5 due to the additional allowance, because I intend to nominate whether that constitutes a conflict of interest. I just thought I would check.
It is a material conflict of interest, so I should declare that.
Yep, so declare the material. Yep, so I declare a material conflict of interest in item 15.5 for the election of deputy mayor.
Any other conflicts of interest? Okay, item 5, business adjourned. There is none. Item 6, deputations. We have none. Item 7, petitions. There are none. Item 8 is the Mayor's diary. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, have a mover. Thank you, Councillor Trotter. Seconded by Councillor Zeppel. All those in favour? That is carried. Item 9, council member updates. Do council members have any updates? Councillor Trotter.
Yes, as you know, the fair was yesterday and the Walkerville Community Committee had a stall with our Fairy Floss popcorn and ticket sales. We're yet to have a figure as to what we've raised, but it was quite a nice low-cost community event involvement, so we had plenty of people come to the stall and we're also setting up the pageant, in the mini pageant, which we will start on Thursday, which will be open on Saturday, so we're really excited to set the pageant up. And also our Chatty Cafe, for those who are not sure about the Chatty Cafe, it's been running for about 3 sessions now, which we sponsor at the Anglican Church, which we intend to extend further out far and wide. And there'll be a Christmas carols, and it seems to be it's doing really well. I think we had over 20 people at the last event, so it's good to see. It's good to see our isolated community finding a nice spot to have a chat and a cuppa.
Okay, any other council member updates? Councillor Paul?
Yeah, I would also like to mention the Halloween party, the admin did a great job. It was, I think, the first organized Halloween party in the council. So happy to be part of that, and it is a good opportunity for the younger kids to get dressed and in their best outfits, and yeah, it was very good.
Thank you. Councillor Rick?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Just obviously wanted to thank the staff and the Walkerville Bowling Club for the official opening on the which was the 24th of October, in the public walkthrough. It was obviously the weather put people off on the Saturday morning, but I thought the invite of the event on the Friday night was fantastic, and had some positive feedback about that. Also want to thank the staff, the Mayor and Councillor Zeppel, obviously, for the School Governing Council at Vale Park for coming to the meeting on Tuesday. That was held on Tuesday the 28th of October. I know the school really appreciated the fact that we just had some elected member. They weren't expecting everyone to go, but just having those couple of members present, they really respected that and wanted to pass on their thanks. Obviously, we all know we had the Community Safety Forum on the 29th, which I thought, again, it follows through on our narrative that we're there for the community, we're raising feedback and it's actively being followed up. So I had some really positive commentary around that from a resident. And then Remembrance Day on the 11th of November. Just want to thank the staff for obviously working with the Walkerville RSL to pull that together. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Zeppel?
And I just want to raise that Steve Georgianis raised in Parliament about the Walkerville Bush Care volunteer group here in Walkerville, and that the people of Walkerville are looking after the environment, and he raised it as an exemplary situation. And also Richard Bentley from the Rotary Club, he also got a mention with his work with the ACF. So once again, Walkerville punches well up to weight on the national stage this time. Good.
Great, thank you. It's been a busy month.
Sorry, Mayor, if I can, I did fail to mention obviously the fair on the weekend. I just want to pass on my thanks for the Walkerville Community Committee. I know you've got a small group and you actively organise the whole show, and well done particularly to Councillor Trotter for pulling all the volunteers together. Just want to pass on my thanks to you. I know it's not an easy thing to do, so I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Yasmin, it's ACF, Australian Conservation Foundation.
Okay, thank you. Item 10, questions from the gallery. We have Wanda here, so thank you, Wanda. Would you like to just come up here? And I think
The lectern.
yes. The lectern, yep, and just state your name and suburb. I think is what recording. Your name and suburb, and then your question.
Okay, I'm Rhonda Avard and I live in Gilberton on Walkerville Terrace, not far from here. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's a passion I have in regards to the urban forest policy and in the initiatives done by Green Adelaide. The recent workshop at Walkerville Town Hall, and I was very pleased to be invited to that. It was a last minute thing, but it was a fabulous. I was only there for the morning, but fabulous. The workshop or event enhancing urban diversity, fostering nature stewardship at home. This comes out in the urban policy, future directions, that is encouraging and bringing grassroots, bringing people into doing this. It can't be done, my belief, by council alone. My question, just before I go on to that, the actual Enhancing Urban Diversity workshop had a whole range of different initiatives from different councils. I have mentioned native gardens for wildlife, building a habitat network in the city, Tea Gully, which was fantastic, and hollows are critical yet scarce resource. My question, how can Walkerville Council play a significant role in supporting local residents and community members to embrace and develop biodiverse gardens and landscaping? Thank you. That's it.
Thanks, Rhonda, for providing that question in advance so that we could have a bit of a consideration to watch. So Walkerville Council has several existing programs and future strategic plans that enable it to strongly support residents in developing biodiverse gardens. Currently, the Council is actively supporting community biodiversity through direct habitat creation, so installing over 50 nesting boxes with faux nature along the River Torrens, and fostering strong community partnerships by providing resources to local planting groups like the Gilberton Woodland and Vale Park Our Patch have been the recipient of several community grants. These efforts are reinforced by demonstration sites such as the Willow Bend Wildflower Walk, where signage and booklets detail plant species and the local fauna they attract, acting as practical guides for residents. Additionally, the Council's ongoing commitment to sustainable maintenance practices, including habitat-friendly mowing, provides a model for eco-conscious land management. Looking ahead, Council is committed under its Towards 2035 strategic plan to independently audit its tree canopy coverage to reach our goal of 32% coverage from 22.6% by 2035. This is backed by annual planting targets being a minimum of 150 new street trees per year and at least 100 new trees along the River Torrens Linear Park Trail each year, reaching totals of 1,500 and 1,000 trees respectively by 2035. By coupling these planting efforts with existing community-based support and documentation, the Council provides both the practical resources and the public example necessary for residents to confidently integrate biodiversity into their own landscaping.
Thank you. Now, I understand that I can get a written response. Does that still...
Yes, and we can also... do a motion to have it recorded in the minutes as well.
Okay, excellent, thank you for that.
So to the council members, would you like this?
I'd like to move that the question and answer be noted in minutes.
Thank you. That's moved by Councillor Ripp and seconded by the Deputy Mayor. All those in favour? That is carried.
Good, thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Rhonda.
Thanks for coming.
Okay, item 11 to the council. Questions without notice. Are there any questions without notice? There are no questions without notice. Item 12, questions with notice. There are no questions with notice. Item 13, motions without notice.
Did we get Mayor's diary? Yes, that was noted. We see it up there, thanks.
It was item 8, I think. Are there any motions without notice? No, there are no motions with notice. We'll move on to item 15, which are the decision reports, and item 15.1, the council resolution register. Are there any questions on the register? Okay, so we'll move on. Councillor Corr has moved that and it's seconded by Councillor Ripp. All those in favour? That is carried. Item 15.2 is the 25-26 first quarter budget review. Mohammed, do you have anything to add to this report?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just add that this report, as you can see, has got some budget reallocation from the admin salaries as overheads to the major project. Also some direct salary cost, some project management cost, some carry forwards from other areas which are already budgeted, move towards these projects. And I'm proposing to do so because it is best practice to allocate salary cost and overheads as indirect cost to the capital project. So that's the main reason. But also another advantage is by doing so, we will be able to claim an additional $300,000 in external grant funding, which otherwise we won't be able to claim. So that's what I'm proposing to do, but happy to take any questions or comments. Thank you.
Any questions on this report? Thank you, Councillor Ripp.
I do. Can I just seek some explanation on page 15? Obviously there's moving parts or budget review, but $25,000 increase in the Walkerville Christmas Fair. I just want to get an explanation as to and why we're sort of seeing this after the event, because obviously we don't have a choice about reducing costs for the event now, but I just wanted to sort of get a rough summary around why, because I believe we didn't, unless I'm wrong, did we approve an increase previously?
So who would like to answer that?
Through the chair, I can answer that.
Yeah.
So when council had I believe it was a motion without notice to move it from Levi to the fair, to Walkerville Oval,
Yeah.
because that's a decent sized figure. Administration had to seek things like extra, larger stage, extra kids, extra marquees. We, due to the number of people, had to seek an extra First Aid St John's, and there was extra generators, so there's quite a lot extra needed to fill the space, moving from one oval to the other. So that was the reason for the increase in budget.
All right, if I can just ask a follow-up, unless I missed it at the time, I didn't recall it being noted that we were going to increase the budget, so I could be wrong, and I still would have supported the move. But with those type of events increasing, what I guess we're either adding to a budget, a worsening budget position, or are we reducing events elsewhere to sort of cover the increase? So sort of to get an explanation about what will miss out as a result of the increase.
Mohammed, would you like to
So
answer that?
through the chair, that certainly comes from additional borrowing because we don't have surplus funds available in the bank. So that is additional borrowings, right?
All right. I understand. So we're expecting each year for the fair to then roughly be that $25,000 increase. So whatever we budgeted for to add that, okay, that's.
I can say, Chair. Obviously the move to Walkerville Oval was made after the budget was done, so it wasn't until more recently we were able to come to terms with what that cost is. And while all the swings and roundabouts, as you probably see between this report and the one where we ended up last year, so last year we ended up about $1 million in front as far as not having to borrow as much. We've probably only carried half of that forward this year. So why this one's dropped, $25,000 over the 2 years, we're actually fairly well in front of where we should be, or we thought would be.
So is there a way for this, I mean, this is obviously a quarterly budget review process, but in the future, can these sorts of things where we're expecting significant increases in budgets that have been set out in an annual business plan come to council earlier for council to be able to actually make a decision about whether things proceed or not? How can that be incorporated into the reporting side?
Through the chair, if it's specifically about in relation to the fair as well, if there is a change in scope to anything that's proposed in the annual business plan, like the fair administration would be happy to go and seek those quotes in advance. If that one was a motion without notice and carried unanimously, we then didn't have the chance to go and seek extra quotes, which in the future we'd be more than happy to do that, to present that back to council for consideration.
Yeah, so it's not just that, it's just where the budget looks like it's exceeding and administration is making decisions about whether things should be exceeded or not. I think it should come back to council for the decision on whether council agrees to amend the business plan to increase it, rather than it just coming back as a sort of, it's a page complete in a budget review.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions on this report? Councillor
Sorry,
Lemke?
I'm just thinking off the top of my head, just going back to that point, I'm just wondering, do we put like a limit on that, like this 10% or 10% more or something like that, or because sometimes, I mean, holding back a project could have further costs to council as well, so I'm just trying to see it from administration's views that, I'm just wondering if there's sort of, maybe put some parameters around that, or, I mean, maybe it's not the decision tonight, but maybe we could think about that and a bit more of a view on what should come to council and what liberty we give to administration to make sure that projects are still delivered. But like I said, we can talk about that at another time, but I was just putting it on the table to think about. Yeah.
Certainly, if I can say through the chair, this is a unique example, a unique situation where council made a decision to change the date and change the location. We just did whatever was required to implement that that resolution, but keep the cost down as low as we could. So ordinarily, and it was a timing issue at the time, so otherwise normally council would ask for what the cost would be to make a change, we'll then bring it back, but due to the time of issues, it wasn't the time this time around.
Councillor Trotter?
I just wanted to will next year be any different? I'm aware that usually the council run the fair themselves and it had to be outsourced because there was mat leave being covered. So will it change again next year at all? Sorry, I'm asking for the chair.
Sarah?
Through the chair, it would only be a very minimal amount. In the past, we had it outsourced and we did bring that in-house. And that extra savings just allowed us to have extra features in the fair. So when it is changed, and if we do decide to bring it back in-house, and still hit that budget, it just changes what we might offer on the day, but we will always aim for the amount set in the budget.
Yeah. That's fine. Yeah.
Any other questions on this report?
Yeah.
So mover, Councillor Trotter, thank you, seconded by Councillor Witt. All those in favour? That is carried. So item 15.3, Vale Park Primary School Traffic Safety Initiatives Update. James, do you have anything to add to this report?
Through the chair, I guess this report reflects some of the recent work we've been doing with Vale Park Primary School. Of recent note, the attendance at the Governing Council meeting with elected members presenting some safety initiatives. I guess this report probably reflects the quick wins, mainly being the installation of some safety fencing and also requesting that the school monitor or take part in the Way to Go Safe Whole School Crossing Monitor program to, I guess, try and improve the existing assets out there or sort of conditions on site, but also making note that some of the bigger items that we're consulting on at the moment will be coming back to a special council meeting next month.
Any questions on this report?
I just wanted to make a comment to Emily and James for doing the nice work. Safety issues has always been the concern for me from the very first day, so I'm quite happy to see the progress.
Would you like to move the report, Councillor Hall?
Yeah.
Thank you. Seconded by the Deputy Mayor. All those in favour? That's carried. Item 15.4, the Audit and Risk Committee Activities Report. Mohammed, anything to add?
Nothing for the good, Mayor.
Any questions on the report? Okay, so a mover. Thank you, Councillor Trotter, seconded by Councillor Zeppel. All those in favour? That is carried. Okay, item 15.5, the election of the Deputy Mayor. So we've noted that Councillor you would like to nominate?
Yes, I'd like to nominate for the role of Deputy Mayor please for the next 12 months, and happy to leave the room for any at this point with a material conflict.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for Deputy Mayor? Okay, so yep, you can step out, thank you. So left the room. Okay, so the resolution is to resolve the term of office of Deputy Mayor for 12 months and appointing Councillor Stephen Rick as Deputy Mayor, which will be until the end of this council term. Mover, Councillor Trotter, seconded for a lot of things. Councillor Zeppel, all those in favour? That's carried. So I'd like to say thank you to current Deputy Mayor, to Midnight. Oh, actually.
Look it up.
So actually, I think it's broken out.
Couple of days.
Oh, is it?
Couple of
When's
days.
it? From the 20th. Oh, from the 20th of November. Okay, got 2 more days. Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for your support.
For the 20th of November. Okay, item 15.6, Councillor Nenke, leave of absence requests. So I'm here from the 16th of December to the 26th. Sorry, 6th to the 16th of December and the 26th of December to the 8th of January. Councillor Core, thank you, and Councillor Trotter has seconded that. All those in favour? That's carried. Item 15.7 is the CEO leave, Christmas closure 2025. So we've got CEO proposing annual leave during the office Christmas closure from 12 o'clock on Wednesday the 24th till 9 a.m. on Monday the 5th of January, being 4.5 days. Councillor Ripp has moved that, seconded by Councillor Core. All those in favour? That is carried. Item 16.1, so 16 information reports and 16.1, 25-26 annual business plan, September quarter progress report. Mohammed, anything to add?
Nothing further to add, Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this report? Councillor Trotter?
On page 82, where it talks about the major projects opening ceremonies, and it talks about bowling club opening. So we've had the bowling club. So did we incur a cost for that already? So that should there be a cost in there? Is that how this works?
Through the chair, so this report is showing status as of 30th of September.
Ah,
So,
okay.
so it's going back in time.
In time.
So in October it has happened, but this is not the status.
Ah, okay. So going forward, would you then the next
See a cost.
you'll see a cost,
Yeah,
and
so
then there's a remaining, and then it'll show not technically a completion because it's not completed. So would you split those two out, or you just keep them as
So
one?
they're staged in 2 different timings, like this one was in October and then the next one is in March.
Yeah.
So you will see when the invoices for the October comes in and get costed, you will see a cost. And then for the W, you will see a cost.
Cost, and then
March,
completion.
April, when the invoices will come in.
And then that will complete?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's okay. Yeah, just to pull that in, that's all.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
And I've just got a question. So when is this? So these are we receive these reports quarterly, but for instance, following the discussion about the Christmas fair that we held earlier, so we know that that is over budget of what was in the annual business plan. But, you know, today we've exceeded the business plan budget by 25,000, yet it's still showing in green. So my question I suppose is how can this report show us what our forecast budget exceedances are going to be? Because at the moment it's all retrospective and there's nothing we can do to arrest anything that's going to be over budget. Well, it's already over budget and the money has been spent. But also, as we talked about before the meeting, that the amounts in that amount column are the amounts not reflective of the actual budget that we set at the beginning of the year, but the budget as it gets adjusted throughout the year. So is there a way for us to track back to our original budget that was set in the annual business plan? There's two questions there.
Yeah, sure, so we can do that. So in the past what we have done, that when we present this report, the cover report says that this reflects the budget, whether it's original budget or whether it gets adopted through the budget reviews. And then each individual line where the budget is adjusted, it says that the budget has been amended through budget reviews. What I can do, I can add another column to begin with. It would say original budget and then amended budget. And this is how you could easily see what happened.
Yeah, okay. And how about tracking forecasted expenditure?
So forecast is your budget. So whatever the budget is, that's our forecast. That's where we will land up. So your amended budget will be the forecast.
So other than in the case of the fair, where the forecast was 89,000 and not 64,500, which was the budget, there's that discrepancy. So I'm just trying to understand how we can receive that sort of earlier insight to budget overruns.
So again, so as soon as we are made available, or we know that that a certain project will go over budget, we will need to come to you. This is just the timing that the fair occurred here now, and the whole setup of the fair was so that we didn't get an opportunity. But in the future, or usually whenever there is an expected overrun or blowout of budget, then we will definitely come to you and present a report to you for a specific project that's what's happened with it, and we will seek additional budget if required.
If I can, through the chair, I think we'll include it in the monthly finance report that you do anyway, to highlight things that are looking close to budget, going out to make mention of it.
If it is minor, I would do that, but if it is significant, then I would put a separate report about a project that's what's happening. Because sometimes in other reports it can get lost, but if it is a major change or significant change, then an additional report would highlight it and would give you a better idea.
Sorry, it's not worth showing you commitment. Like for the fair, I assume you probably would have engaged, I'm just using the fair as an example because it seems to be the topic tonight, but you would have probably engaged the services of various vendors or whatever. Would it be worth having, because that would have come up as a committed cost then, and that would have indicated that you're over budget, I suppose. Would that be or do you make an amendment to the amended budget before you actually allow the commitments to go over the original budget?
So this is when, through the chair, so this is when you make those commitments, where you raise purchase orders, that's where you find out that okay, this happened. This is a bit unique with the event because it has always been at Levi for a long time, and we knew what the costs were, but when we got to it and when the guys were planning, that's where costs got added on, and that's where they realized hang on a second, this is more than what we usually incur, and these are the reasons. It's just that the timing is so close that we didn't get an opportunity to come to council before this budget review and before the fair.
There's the commitments, I'm just going away from the fair, but saying this resale program, this is my screen now, well, that shows that you've engaged contractors that are all here, are ready to go. You know that by the end of the year, that's likely to get spent. Is that an indicator?
Yeah, so through the chair again, so James does that, he would, the contractor would take another look and they would give you an estimated cost. So, and any such projects where there's ups and downs in budget, it will come to council in the report justifying why a certain project is over and another project is under. So that would happen.
Through the chair, roads are a good example where, you know, my team will scope up, you know, roughly the square meterage of what we need for the budget process. We then walk it with the contractor and they might say, oh, we don't have to do that section, or we've got to do a little bit more. So I'm often working with Mohammed around, you know, there's ups and downs. It's not that we're overspending or underspending, it's just that budgeting. And we want to get better, say from the roads perspective, to walk those roads earlier so we can get those budget figures less of an estimate and more of a, you know, trying to get a fixed cost. But it's always that battle of estimating versus on the ground and you know, trying to adjust accordingly. The footpaths and roads are common, as you would know, a common area where you're having to make those adjustments because what you budgeted for, there would, you know, could be a tree root in the way, or there could be something. So
yeah, same as some, over expenditure and others. So I get that, but yeah, I was just trying to work from there and think, how can we see how projects are tracking? I thought maybe your purchase orders might have been a way to do that, but that's all right, that's fine. So,
Yeah, through the chair again, purchase order, this report is an automated report. The limitation with our system is that invoice, when the invoice comes in, that's where the cost hits the GL. As an actual. At the time of purchase order, it doesn't hit the GL. Modern system does that. You raise a purchase order, and as soon as you good receipt it, it hits the GL and you see the cost. The system limitation is as such.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's just to me the committed cost just shows that the project has been, it's progressing, I suppose. Committed to it as a research. But yeah, all right. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on this report? Thank you. Deputy Mayor's moved. Seconded by Councillor Trotter, I think. All those in favour? That is carried. Item 16.2, 24-25 financial results comparison report. Mohammed, anything to add?
Nothing from the director, thank you.
Any questions on this report? Remover. Councillor Vanstone, seconded by Councillor Core. Second there. All those in favour? That's carried. Item 16.3, periodic adjustment of council member allowances. Mohammed, anything to add?
Nothing from the director, thank you.
Any questions on the report? Remover. Councillor Core, thank you. Seconder. Councillor Ritt. All those in favour? That's carried. Item 16.4, Hawkers Road and Dutton Terrace parking update. James, anything to add?
Through the chair, I guess this one dates back probably 12 months where we were closing out on a item in the resolution register around particularly a petition from Dutton Terrace residents around all-day school parking, which was creating congestion and access issues. The report sort of outlines the current conditions and that the restrictions have been very effective on Dutton Terrace. And that we'll continue to monitor parking on Walker's Road. We have picked up that there appears to be some business activity on Walker's Road separate to the school, which may be impacting parking, but not related to the school at this point in time.
Do we just want to note that I've received a complaint from a resident who's complaining on behalf of other residents about that business operating on Hawkers Road near Nottage Terrace, and that the CEO is working with that resident to try and resolve it. So we'll of course be monitoring that with the CEO. Any other questions on this report?
Did we need to note that as part of the minutes or just? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so Ruben, Councillor Vanstone, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Zeppel. All those in favour? That's carried. Item 16.5, monthly financial report, October 25. Mohammed, anything to add?
I'm not thinking of.
Any questions on this report? Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Trotter. All those in favour? That's carried. Item 16.6, monthly works report, October 25. James, anything to add?
Through the chair, probably just a couple of, I guess, out-of-the-box ones from the normal monthly report. You'll notice some increase in verge requests. That's largely to do with the weed issues that we've been managing as we work through council around trying to improve that service moving forward. And also just some ongoing projects. The Walkerville Terrace Master Plan, we're having a workshop with council next Monday planned, and also the engagement of Studio 9 for the sports club designs, which may be the following week. I think we mentioned there the 24th of November, but that may be the 1st of December with council.
Yeah, through the chair, it will be the 1st of December. While we've got the plans and we were looking at putting them out, we thought it's probably too much to expect to do the Walkerville Terrace and the sports club on the one night, so we'll try to spread that out.
Okay, any questions on this report? Councillor Williams?
Thank you, Mayor Jones. Two questions. One on page 109 about the engagement of Studio 9. Has the Walkerville Sports Club Committee, Redevelopment Committee or Design Committee been advised that council's meeting with the Studio 9 with the designer?
The sport. I've certainly liaised with the president of the sports club to let him know of what process we're up to and why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, I was just wondering if the whole committee had been notified, because there'll probably be other people on that committee that may not be aware of that, given there's about another 4 members on there. I could probably understand if they haven't heard anything for a fair while that some of them may not be overjoyed at that, given that we're now having a workshop with council, which is great, don't get me wrong, but I think those people need to be advised of where we're at and when they may be called back in. Otherwise I can see them becoming discontented.
Would you like that out of the resolution?
I think it's worth having.
Yep.
It's been so long since we've met, I've forgotten the name of the committee.
Sports Club Design Committee?
Yeah.
Did you have a second question?
Well, actually, the other question is really a fairly basic one and won't affect this motion. It was just more about, I'm interested to know whether the lights have been on the tennis courts yet at night time and how they appear on
They're working. I haven't seen them myself. Through the chair, it's a manual system, so whoever's on the courts at night can manually access the lights without them being on unnecessarily. So yeah, they were, I think, activated last week. We haven't had feedback yet.
Through the chair, they actually have to wait until the line marking's done on the courts before they can name them, and that netball line marking is only just completed. So that process will be ongoing, but as James said, the lights are physically on and the power's all connected. They'll come in and do that process in due course.
Yeah, I think it was only Saturday morning that the line marking went down for the netball. I think the tennis had been done, but I'm just actually really interested to see those lights on and see what impact they have, because there's never been lights there before. So yeah. So yeah, sorry, I was digressing a bit. So
I think process is the right word here, though.
probably status. I think.
Thank you.
And also whether we also need to give them I mean, we may not have one, whether they need to have an indication when the committee may be called back. But we probably don't need to put that in, given that if we've got the workshop next Monday anyway.
Do we know when there will be a meeting? Do we aiming for one?
No, through chair. I haven't at this stage, because I wanted to get the feedback from council before we get too far ahead of ourselves. Council could throw out the plans that have in front of them, so that could lead to a delay. So if council accepts those plans, we'll sort out a meeting probably soon after, because I'll be saying potentially go back to the committee with those plans and bring them up to date where council's sitting, but that'll depend on what council decides at the workshop.
I guess it could be that council and the council advised the committee of the outcome of the workshop after the 24th of November.
But also, I mean, I think the council has changes to the plans we don't want to go back 20 times to the architect. We want to try and capture all of the changes once. So if the design committee has changes, we should capture those sooner rather than later.
Yeah, if that committee doesn't have some involvement at some stage, they're just going to feel left out of the loop.
Yeah, I think we need to meet.
And I'm just trying to avoid that committee saying council's formed us, but they're not taking any notice of us anyway. So I guess that's what I'm trying to avoid happening.
Through there, absolutely, that's certainly what I mentioned to staff at our major project meeting this morning, that we've got to make sure that we bring the committee in as soon as possible. Part of it is obviously talking to council at the next workshop, but my recommendation to council, if you're partly happy with what's been presented in front of you, and use that to move on to the next stage, which is engaging the committee again and get them involved in the more detailed concepts, because what you'll see at the next workshop are more mud maps of what could happen and what could be put around the very high contextual level. So if contextually that's what council wants to do, then we re-engage the design committee to get the actual detail done, rather at the moment it is at a very high level. That's when you certainly re-engage them and get the detail on and move to the 30% completion.
Well, that's probably fine then, I guess.
Shall I move that?
Yeah, I'm happy to move that.
Seconded. Councillor Seppel. All those in favour? That's carried. Okay, item 17, confidential reports. Item 17.1, major project status update. The first item is to move into confidence. Thank you, Councillor Trotter, seconded by Councillor Seppel. All those in favour? That's carried. Time being 7:44, we have moved into confidence.